to stop what you're doing and listen.
Hello and welcome to episode 40. I am MOSH, and I cannot believe this is the 40th episode. 40! Which means that there should only be 12 more weeks left in the year, because I'm pretty sure episode 1 came out at the very, very beginning of January. So it's a good way to know how much time is left in the year. But yeah, 40 of these is nuts. Like, it really doesn't feel like I've recorded and edited 40 of these. But hey, I was complaining for a while that I never had a weekly series, or I couldn't think of anything to do for a weekly series, and then here we are. So, no complaints. It's just hard to believe. It's been 40 weeks. All right, I am jumping in here last minute. I was just about to upload the podcast, and then Sony went and dropped this news, and I don't want to wait a week to talk about it. So, throwing this in here real quick. They released a blog post titled An Update on Next Gen PlayStation 5 Launches Holiday 2020. This is from Jim Ryan, the president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment. Since we originally unveiled our next generation console in April, we know that there's been a lot of excitement and interest in hearing more about what the future of games will bring. Today, I'm proud to share that our next generation console will be called PlayStation 5 and will be launching in time for holiday 2020. These updates may not be a huge surprise, but we wanted to confirm them for our PlayStation fans as we start to reveal additional details about our vision for the next generation. Wired Magazine covered these updates and more in a story that posted this morning. The more refers to something I'm quite excited about, a preview of the new controller that will ship with PlayStation 5. One of our goals with the next generation is to deepen the feeling of immersion when you play games, and we had the opportunity with our new controller to reimagine how the sense of touch can add to that immersion. To that end, there are two key innovations with the PlayStation 5's new controller. First, we're adopting haptic feedback to replace the rumble technology found in controllers since the 5th generation of consoles. With haptics, you truly feel a broader range of feedback. So crashing into a wall in a race car feels much different than making a tackle on the football field. You can even get a sense for a variety of textures when running through fields of grass or plodding through mud. The second innovation is something we call adaptive triggers, which have been incorporated into the trigger buttons L2 and R2. Developers can program the resistance of the triggers so that you feel the tactile sensation of drawing a bow and arrow or accelerating an off-road vehicle through rocky terrain. In combination with the haptics, this can produce a powerful experience that better simulates various actions. Game creators have started to receive early versions of the new controller, and we can't wait to see where their imagination goes with these new features at their disposal. While there's much more to share about PlayStation 5 in the year ahead, we have plenty of blockbuster experiences coming your way on PS4, including Death Stranding, The Last of Us Part 2, and Ghost of Tsushima. I'd like to thank all PlayStation fans for continuing the journey with us as we embark on the future of games. And then looking at the Wired article, it kind of at the beginning talks about what they talked about back in April, but some of the new stuff, it talks about the storage. It says Sony is changing its approach to storage, making for a more configurable installation and removal process. That could mean the ability to install just a game's multiplayer, leaving the single-player campaign for another time, or just installing the whole thing and then deleting the single player once you've finished it. The controller will also have a new speaker. It will use USB Type-C connector, better battery life. It'll also be a little bit heavier than the PS4 controller, and ray tracing support is going to be hardware-based. So yeah, PS5 is official, which we knew, but to hear PlayStation themselves actually say it, it's official. And it's just a little extra news. Not a whole lot, but, they're leaking out not leaking out, but they're letting some info out slowly. So surely the full reveal will be in a few months. So PlayStation Now, PlayStation streaming service, cloud service, whatever the thing is getting a significant price drop. So previously it was $100 for a 1-year subscription. It is now $60. Previously it was $20 a month. Now it's $10 a month. Used to be $45 quarterly. It's now $25 quarterly. So people that are already subscribed to this, which I think says around 700,000 people, they are very happy right now. This is actually a pretty good deal. I mean, $60 a year, and you have access to over 800 games, which includes PS4, PS3, and PS2. It's pretty good. And I think if you've not tried PlayStation Now yet, you can get a free trial to test it. A few things about this, though. PlayStation Now has changed since I used it. I was a beta tester for it back in the day, and back then you had to stream everything. And I don't mean live stream it, I mean you had to stream it from the internet. Kind of like Netflix. You watch it through your internet connection. And if your connection's not great, that affects the resolution, it affects the frame rate, pixelation, all that stuff. And when I was testing it, it was rough. Well, since then, they've made it to where you can still do the streaming thing if your internet's good enough, or you can now just directly download the game to your PS4 and play it normally, which is great. The reason I bring that up is because most people might not have known about that. They might think it's just a streaming thing, but you can also get PS Now on PC, which also a lot of people might not know. And PlayStation is not keeping this a secret. They posted about it on their very own website. They even tell people how to do it and what specs or like minimum specs you should have to do it. So they completely support it, obviously. So if you have a PC and you want to try out PS Now or just play PlayStation games on your PC, you can. You don't even need a PS4. But you can't do the download feature on PC. That's streaming only. So if you have a PS4, you can either download it or stream the games. But if you're on PC, you have to stream them. And this is just kind of like PlayStation Plus. It's a subscription. So if you have the games downloaded and your subscription runs out, then you can't play them. You get locked out. Similar, like I said, to PlayStation Plus. If you have one of the free games downloaded and your subscription runs out, you can't play it. But if you get another subscription, you can then play it again. And it says you can play games offline without an internet connection. It says, however, when playing a downloaded game, you'll need to connect to PSN every 7 days to validate your PlayStation Now subscription and to maintain your access to the game. So once a week, you gotta at least sign in once so that it verifies you are in fact subscribed to this service. It also says there's no limit to the amount of games that you can download. So as long as you have the hard drive space for it, you can download as many as you want. So probably about 3, depending on what games they are. I only have about 3 games downloaded right now that take 100 gigs each. So, I still have the OG PS4, like launch day PS4 with 500 gigs. And I've been trying to make that work for 6 years. Somehow that bad boy has not failed me. That's the only thing I've gone to a midnight release for. It actually wasn't even that crazy. It was pretty organized. Because I remember when the PS3 came out, people were like getting stabbed and killed. And it was just, that's not what it was for PS4. Anyway, it does say that the games do support multiplayer. So you can play multiplayer games with PlayStation Now. PlayStation Now and PS Plus are 2 different subscriptions. They're not the same. There's no bundle, no wombo combo, 2 separate things. Like I said, it's only available on PS4 and PC at the moment. It is not supported by smart TVs, smartphones, or tablets yet. It probably will be in the future because remember that Microsoft has their, was it xCloud? Yeah, Project xCloud. That's going to be their service, which is probably going to be really similar to this, probably going to have similar pricing, and that I believe will be available on smartphones and tablets. So that's a good thing though, because competition between companies is great. It just improves the services as a whole. So that's why I believe that PS Now will eventually be on those products, but at the time being, they are not, or it is not. But once Project xCloud comes out, then we might hear some changes about that. So if you want to stream the games, you need a minimum broadband speed of at least 5 megabits per second, and they recommend using a wired connection. The PC requirements, these are the minimum requirements. Now, I'm not super knowledgeable about PC, so I'm basically just going to rattle off a bunch of numbers and letters, and it should make sense. Windows 7, 8.1, or 10. Core i3 2.0 gigahertz, 300 MB of available storage, 2 gigabytes of RAM, sound card, USB port. For optimal performance, Windows 7, 8.1 or 10, 3.5 gigahertz Intel Core i3 or 3.8 gigahertz AMD A10 or faster. That definitely made sense. 300 megabytes or more of available storage, 2 gigabytes or more of RAM, sound card, USB port. You need at least 2 gigs of dedicated WAM. You can use your DualShock 4 on PC, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, I think it's a good, I mean, $60 a year to have access to that many games. I don't see any flaws to that. I'll actually put a link to this article from their website in the description. That way, if you want to see the PC specs or just I mean, there's like a Q&A in here, or just there's all these questions and answers. I didn't go through all of it, but if you want to go through it and see the specs and all that, then I'll put a link to that in the description. That's not all with PlayStation, though. We're not done. Another thing that has flown under the radar is that crossplay is officially a thing. PlayStation has agreed, they're all on board, and it's officially official. It says the console can support crossplay on any titles that studios provide the functionality for. So that means it's in the developer's hands at this point. If a game does not have crossplay, it's not PlayStation's fault. It's not Microsoft's fault. It's not, well, no one really speaks for PC. They're just kind of their own thing. So it's not PC's fault. And Nintendo, does Nintendo really? I think they have crossplay on Fortnite, but I don't know if they have crossplay on anything else. So maybe Nintendo is still lagging behind. But other than that, we're here. Everyone can play, except Nintendo. Because, a few months ago when PlayStation was like, yeah, we don't know about crossplay, blah, blah, blah. They listened to the people. It's here. All those years of people wanting to play together on different platforms, it's here. So again, if a game comes out with multiplayer and it does not have crossplay, it is strictly on the developer. So Bungie, let's get crossplay going for Destiny. Rockstar, let's get crossplay going for GTA and Red Dead. Although you're going to have to look into PC because, mods, they get a little hairy over there. But we already know the new Call of Duty is going to have it. We already beta tested it. Fortnite has it. Rocket League has it. I'm sure other games have it that I just can't think of. I think PUBG just introduced it like the other day. Obviously, the exclusive games are not going to have it, though. Say a new Killzone comes out or something, it's not going to have crossplay with the other platforms because, well, the game's not going to be on other platforms. Well, maybe on PC if it's in the PS Now. Although that would take some time because usually new games are not in PS Now. They have to be out a few months or a year or whatever. But down the road, it could then be in PS Now, and then PC players could then play with PS4 or PS5 players at that point. Anyway, crossplay, cool. Moving on. Still not done with PlayStation. So Shawn Layden, the worldwide studios chairman of Sony Interactive Entertainment, has left. He's gone. We don't know why. There hasn't been an explanation. It sounds like he left on his own and was not fired. Although, again, we don't know for sure. But, you've seen him at press conferences. He always wore like a shirt under his jacket that would tease something they were working on. But he's gone. Reggie retired earlier this year from Nintendo. They just got little Phil over there with Microsoft. So I don't know who's going to take his place. They don't really do, they weren't at E3, so they didn't do that press conference. Their state of plays are just pre-recorded videos. And who knows if there's even going to be a PSX this year, because if there was, I feel like they would have announced it already. The next time we see an official press conference from PlayStation, it might be the PS5 reveal, which would probably be around... The PS4 was revealed in February, so I'm thinking maybe February or even January. I think they have to do it before The Last of Us Part 2 comes out, though, because if there's a PS5 version of that game, I would hope they would tell people before the game comes out, because some of us would like to wait for the PS5 version. It would suck to buy the PS4 version, and then, a few months later, like, oh yeah, here's a PS5 version. It's just... But speaking of The Last of Us Part 2, I forgot to mention something last week. Even though I was talking about the game and annoying gamers, I completely forgot to mention the multiplayer. The Last of Us Part 2 does not have multiplayer. At least it will not ship with multiplayer. And people were pretty mad about that. And they were mad because Naughty Dog wants to focus on single player at the moment, which is ridiculous because The Last of Us is known for its single player. And if you're mad at a studio for trying to make the best single-player game that they can, you're insane. So when this news came out, like I said, people were mad, and then Naughty Dog released a statement, and I will read that statement right now. We wanted to address multiplayer in The Last of Us Part 2, As we've stated, the single-player campaign is far and away the most ambitious project Naughty Dog has ever undertaken. Likewise, as development began on the evolution of our factions mode from The Last of Us Part 1, the vision of the team grew beyond an additional mode that could be included with our enormous single-player campaign. In the first game, they called the multiplayer factions. Wanting to support both visions, we made the difficult choice that The Last of Us Part 2 would not include an online mode. However, you will eventually experience the fruits of our team's online ambition, but not as part of The Last of Us Part 2. When and where it will be realized is still to be determined, but rest assured, we are as big a fan of factions as the rest of our community and are excited to share more when it's ready. And just looking at the replies to this on Twitter, it's like the first response is, lol, that's the excuse y'all gonna give? It's not an excuse. They literally just said they're working on multiplayer, and they've been working on multiplayer for a long time. If you follow the game, you would know Naughty Dog has been hiring multiplayer people for quite some time, and to this day, they are still hiring multiplayer people. This isn't them trying to save face and throw together some quick multiplayer to make people happy. They've been working on it. And it might not even be in the game. It might be its own separate game. Because they said the multiplayer that they're working on is also really ambitious and a big thing that they're working on. So it could be its own game. It could be in an update that they include in The Last of Us Part 2. GTA 5 did not release with multiplayer. It came in later with an update. Red Dead Redemption 2 did not release with multiplayer. It came in later with an update. Cyberpunk 2077 is not going to launch with multiplayer. It's going to come later in an update. So they can absolutely do that. Or it could be its own standalone game. And then we don't even know the price of it. It could be free for all we know. It could be a free multiplayer game with microtransactions. Or it could be a $20 game. We don't know. But with the amount of quality that Naughty Dog has, that doesn't even make sense. The amount of quality. Just knowing how good Naughty Dog is with their stuff, just trust them. Give them the time they need to do what they need to do. Just trust them. Yeah, some of these replies are just ridiculous. Not good enough. What's not good enough? I was so excited for this game because of the multiplayer, and now I'm let down. Sure, the campaign will be good, but I don't want to play versus AI bots all the time. You guys dropped the ball. Yeah, they dropped the ball. Okay, you go make a game. You want multiplayer so bad? You go make a game. How about you go apply to Naughty Dog to be one of the multiplayer people so you can help them? Oh, you're not experienced in video game creation? Oh, well, too bad. Give us the multiplayer part of The Last of Us 2. At least work on it after you finish the single player campaign. Please don't ignore us. That's what they just said in the post. These people can't read. Why is reading so hard? What a money grab. $60 for the solo game, which seeing as it won't have multiplayer will lose money. Yeah, okay. God of War released for $60 and it did just fine without multiplayer. Spider-Man released for $60 and did just fine with no multiplayer. Holy moly, these people. Imagine buying The Last of Us Part 2 for multiplayer, though. That's the weird thing about the multiplayer in the first game. It's like casual players loved it. That's just one of the weird things I've noticed. Like all these people that say they don't really play multiplayer, just they gravitated toward The Last of Us as multiplayer. And then people like me who play multiplayer more than single player, we've played it and it's just like, it's whatever. Like I don't really see the appeal of it. It's just really weird. Imagine how dumb these people are going to feel if they release it for free. Moving on. Let's get off that topic. Negativity everywhere. Let's get past it. Let's get more into the positivity. So Rockstar announced that Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming to PC on November 5th. So just a few weeks away. It's happening. The PC people can finally shut up about it. And this got me thinking because GTA Online has special role-playing servers. It's a mod, but they have role-playing servers where people act as their characters in this world. And people love it. These people get a ton of viewers on Twitch, probably on YouTube as well. I've never looked up those videos on YouTube, but on Twitch, they get a lot of viewers. And some people's channels are blown up from it. And they don't even use face cams either. Like you can be hidden and just use your normal voice and just act and your channel blows up, whatever. The people that made that mod, I think it's the same people, they said that they are working on having a role-playing server thing for this game, which could also be very interesting. The amount of possibilities of that is ginormous. Like you can make so many good videos, but I probably won't get it for PC because I've already done everything you can do in this game. I'm so glad I finished these Red Dead Redemption 2 guide videos, and I got them out just in time, right before the PC release. It's going to be a whole influx of new people playing the game. And even a lot of people on console haven't even unlocked the collector role yet because they don't have the gold bars to unlock it. All those people that haven't gotten collector yet, and then all the PC people coming in. Whoo-wee. Got those videos done. Glad they're done. Now I can just sit back and let the internet do their thing. And also the mods. Like, people could do some seriously cool mods with this game. It's going to be fun to watch to see what people do. So keep your eyes out on Red Dead 2 on PC. Maybe I'll get it in the future, but nothing or no plans at the moment. I might need a break from that game. I've gone from one side of that map to the other so many times. I'm tired. Give me a break. Oh, and I think it's available on the Rockstar launcher first, and then it might be coming to Steam later, like a week later. Not entirely sure. I saw some people talking about that, but it is what it is. Get over it. Do you really have to always play on Steam? Why do people have to play on Steam 24/7? No one cares. If you're streaming a game, no one pops into your chat and be like, are you playing this through the Rockstar launcher and not Steam? I'm leaving. No one cares what you play it on. It's like all the people that threw a fit about Borderlands 3 coming out on the Epic Game Store first. And guess what? They all bought it on the Epic Game Store after throwing hissy fits. Jesus criminy. Moving on. Gonna talk about Destiny 2. Shadowkeep. It's been out for almost a week at this point. I've been playing it for less than a week because I was a day late. Because on Tuesday when it came out, Bungie shut the servers down for a period of time because the servers could not handle all of the people. And I didn't even try to play. So I started playing the next day on Wednesday. And I gotta say, I like it. I like where the story's headed. I like the story missions, what they're trying to tell. I'm trying not to spoil it. The ending, though, the ending's not bad. They end it on a cliffhanger, which they always do. And, yeah, I want to say something, but I'm pretty sure that's also a spoiler, so I'm not even going to go there. But I liked it. And I haven't even seen everything. I haven't done the raid yet because I'm not high enough power level. They just added the Vex Offensive, which is cool. They are adding dungeons soon, which should be interesting. There's Nightmare Hunts, which I haven't done yet either. So yeah, I'm liking it. It's Bungie's just like in my head, apparently, because everything I told them they needed to do to get me back on Destiny is exactly what they did. And I'm a man of my word. And I bought Shadowkeep and I'm on Destiny. So there's a ton of stuff to do. I'm also like behind because of the Curse of Osiris and Warmind expansions as well. So there's all that stuff and then the new stuff. My quest tab is just full. It's like every time I finish one quest, 2 more get added in, and it never ends. And then leveling up the season pass. I could play this game forever because that's just on one character. If you play Destiny, there's no way you're playing on one character. You gotta have all 3 classes. So once you're done with that one character leveling up, you gotta do it all over again on the other one. But it's a little bit quicker because you can transfer your high power guns through the vault, so that helps level them up. But yeah, it's a lot. But so far so good. I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun again. And I recommend it. Again, Destiny 2 is free to play now. Just go to the PlayStation Store, Xbox Marketplace, Steam, download it. You get the base game, you get the first expansion, you get the second expansion. The gunplay is great. Destiny has some of the best gunplay of any shooter. And yeah, you can level up and do raids, which are fun. We definitely want to do some raids, but we don't necessarily have a bunch of people to join us. So you should download the game. You should level up. You should join our clan, and then we can have fun. There are some things I would like to see in, well, it's probably not going to happen in Destiny 2. Probably have to wait for Destiny 3. But I would like to see them be more like Borderlands in the sense that there's actual loot drops. Because in Destiny, they drop engrams. And then when you pick up an engram, it decodes, and then you see what you got. I want to actually see the items drop. I want to see the gun on the ground, just like in Borderlands. Because in Borderlands, people have figured out, which bosses, like what's in their loot pools. So if you're looking for a certain gun, it's like, okay, this boss drops it. This boss drops it. Well, this boss is easier than this one, so I'm going to go farm this boss. And that's the other thing is in Borderlands, after you beat a boss, you can just go back to that area and fight them again. So you go there, fight them again, see what they drop. Nothing, leave area, come back, fight them again. And you just keep doing that over and over. In Destiny, if you want to fight a boss, it loads up a mission. So you can't really do that. You have to load up the mission, go through it all to the end. And it's just, I wish they would just be more like Borderlands. And even if the gun drops that you want, it might not actually be the gun that you want because they have different roles. So one version of the gun might have 2 perks that you don't really care about, but the best version has 2 perks that you really care about. So that's the version you really want. So you're trying to farm for that version. And again, that's kind of like Borderlands. There's guns that have the same title, but the grip might be different. The sights might be different. So I would just like more farming in Destiny. And no more engrams. Just get rid of engrams. I think that's all I have for gaming this week. And for the first, maybe the second time, I have nothing to talk about music-wise. There's just nothing happening right now. Nothing's come out. No news. October 25th will be different, though. Have I mentioned October 25th? I might have. If I haven't, I'll mention it again. October 25th, you have the new Ginger album. You have the new Fit for an Autopsy album. You have the new Saint Sonia album. You have the deluxe edition of the Ice Nine Kills album that came out last year. And then Modern Warfare comes out. So it's a jam-packed day. Yeah, nothing going on music-wise. So I got nothing to say, really. I guess it just goes into the weekly pick, which actually is gaming related. So I guess we're not done with gaming. And it's Destiny related. So since there are a lot of new people coming into Destiny, since it is free to play, it is a video about the story of Destiny by a YouTuber named My Name is Bife. And his whole channel basically revolves around the Destiny story and lore and all that stuff. So if you're ever curious about something, he's the guy. I have to mention, though, this video is nearly 4 hours long. It's like 3 hours and 57 minutes, and it covers the entire story up until Shadowkeep. And yeah, it's long. But Destiny has a good story. It really does. Bungie just isn't great at necessarily telling the story. Like, they have so many cool characters, and then you just don't see them. Like, there's one character in particular that comes to mind, and I don't want to say it because it's also a spoiler, but like, you never see them in action. They're talked about, and then when they actually get talked about in the game, they're dead. And it's just like, why do you build them up to be this like gigantic force, and then when we see them for the first time in the game, they're dead? I don't like that. But again, it does. I don't necessarily like that part, but it is a good story. And again, it's very long. This is not a video you can necessarily have on in the background and get all the information you need. You pretty much have to pay attention to it because there are parts that are confusing. Like, I've been playing Destiny since day one, and there are still things I don't understand. And I've watched a lot of lore videos, so it can be confusing. You got to pay attention, but it is, again, a good story. I wish he would have waited until after Shadowkeep, though, so that way he could have incorporated that into it, but he's got like hundreds of thousands of subs, and I don't, so I'm not going to tell him what to do with his channel. Link in the description. All right, on to my weird story of the week, but I'm going to change it up a bit because it is October, and it's spooky month. So to get into the theme of this month, instead of a weird story, I will tell creepy stories this month. Now, I will not say whether or not these stories are true, and that's mostly because I don't even know. But anyway, creepy stories for the month of October. In the early 1900s in Weatherford, Oklahoma, Katie DeWitt James left her home with her baby after she filed for divorce from her husband. She planned to move in with her cousin, but her family never heard from her. After an investigation, it turned out that she moved in with local prostitute Franny Norton. She was last seen leaving the house with Franny and her child in a carriage. Franny returned with the child, who was covered in blood, but without Katie. Her body was found later along a nearby creek with her head cut off. It was rumored that her ex-husband had killed with Franny's help, but Franny claimed she wasn't involved in Katie's death. But on the day she was supposed to be questioned by the police, she poisoned herself. Katie's still around, though. She allegedly appears as a blue light floating around town, and people have reported hearing a woman looking for a baby and the rolling sound of wheels of a carriage. Now, I'm not an investigator by any means, but if the two of them left the house with the baby, and then only one returned with the baby covered in blood, surely she would know what happened to Katie. But she said she wasn't involved. And then when she was to be questioned by police, she poisoned herself? I'm gonna have to say Franny's guilty. I'll try to find some creepier stories in the next few weeks. This was kind of late notice because it just popped into my head that it's October and Halloween. Should do creepy stuff. Anyway, that's going to do it for me this week. Episode 40, if you didn't know. If you didn't hear the beginning where I mentioned it 50 million times. As always, though, thanks for listening and hanging out. Links to certain things in the description. And I'll talk to you guys next week. Duh. Later.